Ayesha sat quietly on the cold metal bench outside the oncology department, her hands resting on her lap, fingers intertwined as if she was holding her own courage together. The hospital smelled of medicine and disinfectant, mixed with the faint scent of overboiled tea from the small canteen nearby. Every time the door opened, Hope walked in with someone, and every time it closed, silence followed her again. Her file was thin, not because her illness was small, but because her life had always been simple. She had never needed many papers to prove who she was. A small rented room, a sewing machine, and a life stitched together with effort, that was all she had. The nurse had already told her once, in a voice tired from repeating the same sentence every day. "I'm sorry, all government quota funds are finished for this month." Ayesha nodded politely, as if she had expected no other answer. She smiled even. She always smiled, not because she was strong, but because that's how she had survived all her life, by not letting the world see how badly it hurt. Her cancer had started as small discomfort, a pain she ignored for months. Work came first. Her mother's medicines came first. Her younger brother's school fees came first. By the time she collapsed while sewing a bridal dress for a client, the doctors told her she had very little time left for delay. Treatment was expensive, too expensive for a girl who earned by fixing torn clothes and hemming trousers. For 3 days, she came to the hospital with the same file. For 3 days, she sat on the same bench. For 3 days, she watched other patients get their names called while hers stayed silent. On the 4th day, a man noticed her. He wasn't dressed like a doctor. No lab coat, no stethoscope around his neck. Just simple clothes and a tired face, someone who looked like he had seen too much life. "You have been sitting here for a long time," he said gently. Ayesha looked up, surprised. Most people avoided eye contact, as if sickness was contagious by sight. "I am waiting," she replied softly. "For someone or something?" he asked. "For my name to be called," she answered, her smile carefully practiced. The man glanced at her file, then back at her. "And if it doesn't?" Her lips parted to answer, but nothing came out. Because she had never allowed herself to think beyond this moment. She had only focused on surviving each day, one breath at a time. "I will come again tomorrow," she finally said. His name was Irfan. He didn't make big promises. He didn't pull out his phone and call anyone important. He just sat beside her, as if her loneliness needed company more than solutions. "May I ask what you do?" he asked. "I stitch clothes," she replied. "I fix what others tear apart." He smiled faintly. "You must be very good at patience then." She nodded. "Thread breaks often." There was a long silence. Then he stood up. "Let me see what I can do." Ayesha didn't believe him. She had heard many people say similar things before. Some out of sympathy, some to feel better about themselves. None had returned, but Irfan did. The next morning, she came back, same bench, same hospital smell, same nervous heart. But this time, the nurse called her name. Ayesha Naz. She stood up so fast that her head spun. The nurse smiled slightly. "Your treatment has been approved. Someone handled your case." Ayesha froze. "Who?" The nurse shrugged. "A donor." Her eyes searched the hallway, and then she saw him standing near the entrance, leaning against a wall. He didn't smile like a hero. He just nodded, as if it was nothing. Later she found out Irfan wasn't rich. He had lost his wife to cancer 2 years ago. He knew what it felt like to sit on that bench while hope slowly disappeared. He knew the sound of machines in the ICU, the smell of antiseptic in his clothes even after going home. He knew what it meant when doctors avoided eye contact. "I couldn't save her," he said quietly one evening when Ayesha asked. "But maybe I can save someone else's time." Their conversations became part of her healing. On treatment days, he brought her tea. Not expensive food, just simple doodh patty in a paper cup. He never talked about donations or money. He only asked about her stitches, her mother, her dreams. "You never asked why I help you," he said one day. She smiled. "I think sometimes kindness doesn't need reasons. It just needs timing." Chemotherapy was not easy. Her hair began to fall. Her body grew weaker. There were days when she couldn't even sit up without dizziness. And there were nights when the pain felt like fire spreading inside her bones. But every time she felt like giving up, she remembered one thing. Someone had looked at her not as a patient, but as a human being. One evening while resting on the hospital balcony, Ayesha asked him something. "Why me?" He looked at the sunset, then said softly, "Because when I first saw you, you were smiling. And I thought, Someone shouldn't be that brave alone. Months passed. Slowly, the reports began to change. Tumor is responding well. Improvement is visible. We are hopeful. Words Ayesha had stopped expecting long ago. And one morning, the doctor looked up from her file and smiled. You are responding exceptionally well, Ayesha. We will still monitor you, but you are out of immediate danger. Her hands trembled. She didn't cry immediately. She just sat there, processing a life she almost lost. Outside the room, Irfan waited. Well, he asked. She finally smiled without fear. I think your tea works better than medicine. For the first time, he laughed. But life never gives blessings without responsibility. I can't keep helping like this forever, Irfan said gently one day. I don't have much. I only wanted to get you started again. Ayesha nodded. You already did. After her recovery slowly took shape, she returned to her sewing. But this time, she didn't stitch only clothes. She started training women from poor neighborhoods, widows, abandoned wives, girls who had no skill but strong hands and tired dreams. She called it, Nay Door, the new thread. Every dress they stitched, every uniform they completed, every school bag they repaired, carried a piece of her journey. 1 year later, she stood in front of a small group of cancer patients at the same hospital, the same bench, the same waiting area. I used to sit here, she told them softly, thinking life had abandoned me. But sometimes life doesn't abandon us, it tests whether we still believe in kindness. She didn't talk about Irfan as a savior. She talked about him as proof that even broken people can become bridges for others. And as she spoke, a woman sitting in the corner, clutching her diagnosis papers, looked up at her with teary eyes. Will everything be okay? The woman whispered. Ayesha smiled. Not her old nervous smile, but a new one, steady and alive. Yes, she said, maybe not easy, but never hopeless. Because she had learned something important. Sometimes, you are denied treatment by the system. But you are never denied hope by humanity.